Listen to me. I don't know who needs to hear this, but God is opening a powerful door for you. Not tomorrow, not next year, right now. And the question is, are you ready to walk through it? Are you prepared for what he has in store? Because let me tell you something, opportunities don't wait for you to get comfortable. Doors don't stay open forever. Some of you have been praying, asking God, when is it my time? When will I get my breakthrough? And God is saying, I've already opened the door, but you're still standing on the outside, second guessing yourself. See, too many people miss their blessing because they're waiting for the perfect moment. They're waiting to feel ready. But let me drop this on you. Faith isn't about feeling ready. It's about trusting that if God called you to it, he's already equipped you for it. You're out here doubting yourself, but God didn't put that doubt in you. That's fear talking. That's insecurity talking. And the enemy would love for you to stay stuck at the doorway, never stepping into your calling. But you got to push past that. You got to move. Listen, when God opens a door, you don't tiptoe through it. You don't hesitate. You step in with confidence, knowing that he didn't bring you this far to leave you. The Bible says, I have set before you an open door which no one can shut. That means no hater, no circumstance, no mistake from your past can keep you from what's meant for you except you. So today I'm challenging you. Get up, stop waiting, walk through that door. Because the blessing, the breakthrough, the next level, it's already there. But you got to be bold enough to claim it. Opportunities don't wait. Doors won't stay open forever. Think about all the moments in life where hesitation cost you something. A decision you delayed, a chance you second guessed, a moment you let pass because you were too caught up in doubt or fear. How many times have you looked back and thought, if only I had moved faster, if only I had stepped up, if only I had been ready? Life doesn't slow down for hesitation, and neither do opportunities. The problem with most people is that they think opportunities will always be there. They assume that just because something is meant for them, it will wait for them. But that's not how life works. That's not how God works. When a door is opened, it's open for a season. It's open at the right time in the right moment. And if you're not paying attention, if you're waiting for the perfect conditions, if you're hesitating because you're afraid, you will miss what was meant for you. Think about the moments in your life where you knew deep down you were supposed to act, but you didn't. That feeling of regret, that nagging voice that says, you should have done it. That's not just your mind playing tricks on you. That's confirmation that something was placed in your path and you didn't take hold of it. The truth is, life is a series of open doors, but not all of them stay open. Some of them close forever, and some of them open for someone else who was bold enough to step up when you hesitated. Too many people live their lives waiting for a second chance at the same opportunity. But let me tell you something, not every door gets reopened. Some doors are one-time opportunities. Some moments come and go, and once they're gone for good. You don't always get another shot at the same blessing. That's why you can't afford to move slowly when you feel a shift happening in your life. When you know deep down that a door is opening, you have to step through it. A lot of people think they'll be ready someday. They tell themselves they need to get a little more prepared. They need to be in a better position. They need more time. But let's be honest. How many times have you told yourself that and still never moved? How many times have you waited for the perfect moment, only to realize that the perfect moment never came? The truth is, perfection is an illusion. There is no perfect moment, no perfect condition, no perfect time where everything lines up exactly the way you want. If you keep waiting for perfect, you'll spend your whole life waiting. The people who succeed, the people who walk through the doors that God opens for them, aren't the ones who had everything figured out. They aren't the ones who felt totally ready. They're the ones who moved in faith. They're the ones who said, I don't have all the answers, but I know this door is for me, so I'm walking through it. They're the ones who understand that hesitation is the enemy of progress. Look at the world around you. Every single person you admire, every person who has achieved something great, every person who is living the life you dream of had a moment where they had to decide, step forward or stay behind. And the only reason they're where they are now is because they chose to move. They chose to act when the door was open instead of waiting for another invitation. God doesn't waste opportunities. When he opens a door, he opens it because he knows he's ready. Even if you don't feel ready, he wouldn't put it in front of you if it wasn't your time, but he's not going to drag you through it. You have to be the one to walk. You have to be the one to trust that if he brought you to this door, he will provide everything you need to walk through it. Some of you are standing at the threshold of a door that has been opened for you, but instead of stepping forward, you're looking around, asking for more confirmation. You're waiting for a sign, even though the door itself is the sign. You're waiting for someone to push you, even though God has already placed it in front of you. How much more confirmation do you need? The reality is, hesitation has robbed more people of their destiny than failure ever has. People aren't missing out because they tried and failed. They're missing out because they never tried at all. They let fear, doubt, and excuses hold them back from the very thing they prayed for. They stood in front of an open door and talked themselves out of walking through it. They let the fear of the unknown keep them in the same place year after year while the opportunity faded away. When a door opens, it doesn't wait for you to feel confidence. It doesn't wait for you to finish overthinking. It opens, and it's up to you to step through it before it closes. Because if you don't, someone else will. Someone else will recognize the opportunity. Someone else will move while you hesitate. And while you're still standing there, wondering if you should take the leap, the moment will pass, and you'll be left with nothing but regret. How many times have you seen it happen? You had an idea, but didn't act on it. And then someone else brought that same idea to life. You thought about starting that business, but you waited too long. And now you see someone else doing exactly what you dreamed of doing. You wanted to take a chance on something, but you let fear hold you back. And now you look back and wish you had just gone for it. That's what happens when you wait too long. That's what happens when you assume that the door will always be open. You don't have time to hesitate. You don't have time to wait until you feel perfectly prepared. The doors that God is opening for you are not random. They are intentional. They are aligned with your purpose. But if you don't step into them, if you don't move with urgency, you will miss what was meant for you. This is why you have to change your mindset. You have to start seeing opportunities as now or never moments. You have to stop treating open doors like they'll always be available. You have to start moving with faith instead of fear, with confidence instead of hesitation. Because when a door closes, it's not always guaranteed to open again. So many people live their lives wishing they had moved when they had the chance, wishing they had believed in themselves sooner, wishing they hadn't let fear keep them stuck, wishing they had just walked through the door when it was open. Don't be one of those people. Don't let hesitation be the reason you miss out on the life God has for you. Opportunities don't wait. Doors don't stay open forever. You either step through them or you stand outside and watch someone else walk into the blessing that was meant for you. Faith isn't about feeling ready. It's about trusting God's timing. One of the biggest misconceptions people have about faith is that it requires a feeling. They think that in order to step out, in order to take action, in order to pursue the opportunity in front of them, they need to feel ready. But faith has never been about feelings. Faith is about trust. Faith is about believing that God knows what he's doing, even when you don't understand it. Faith is about moving forward, even when everything in you is screaming to wait. Too many people are stuck in life, not because they don't have potential, not because they don't have talent, not because they don't have opportunities, but because they are waiting to feel ready. They tell themselves that when they have more money, when they have more knowledge, when they have more confidence, when they feel prepared, then they'll move. But the truth is, if you wait to feel ready, you'll never move at all. Feeling ready is an illusion. The people who accomplish great things, the people who walk in purpose, the people who step into the doors God opens for them are not the ones who felt the most prepared. They're the ones who trusted the most. They're the ones who understood that God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the call. They're the ones who understood that if God opened the door, he has already made the way. The Bible is full of people who didn't feel ready. Moses didn't feel ready when God told him to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. He literally argued with God, saying he wasn't good enough. He wasn't a good speaker. He wasn't the right person. But God didn't ask Moses if he felt ready. He told him to go. Gideon didn't feel ready when God called him a mighty warrior and told him to lead his people. He questioned God, doubted himself, and asked for sign after sign. But God didn't wait for Gideon to feel strong enough. He sent him anyway. Look at David. He was just a shepherd boy. He wasn't trained for battle. He wasn't prepared to fight a giant. He didn't have the armor, the experience, or the qualifications. But when the moment came, he stepped up. He didn't wait until he felt like a warrior. He moved in faith, knowing that God had already equipped him. That's what faith looks like. That's what trusting God's timing looks like. Some of you have been praying for an opportunity and God has already given it to you, but you're hesitating because you don't feel ready. You're doubting yourself. You're questioning whether you're good enough. You're looking at your flaws, your weaknesses, your shortcomings, and you're telling yourself, maybe later, maybe next time. But what if this is the time? What if this is the moment you've been waiting for? What if God's plan doesn't require you to be perfect, but just requires you to trust him? The problem is too many people are trying to figure out all the details before they take the first step. They want to see the entire path laid out. They want to know exactly how everything is going to work out before they move. But faith doesn't work that way. Faith is about taking the first step, even when you can't see the whole staircase. Faith is about trusting that if God said go, he will provide everything you need along the way. Think about Peter walking on water. When Jesus called him out of the boat, Peter didn't have a full plan. He didn't know how it was going to work. All he had was the word from Jesus saying, come, and that was enough. He stepped out onto the water, not because he felt ready, not because he had experience walking on water, but because he trusted the one who called him. That's what faith looks like. That's what trusting God's timing looks like. God's timing is not based on your comfort. God's timing is not based on when you feel like you're ready. God's timing is based on his plan, his purpose, and his perfect will. And when he says move, you have to move. You can't afford to wait until you feel ready because feelings are inconsistent. Feelings will talk you out of your blessing. Feelings will make you second guess yourself. Feelings will have you missing opportunities because you're waiting for something that may never come. Look at the people who have done great things in life. Look at the people who have stepped into purpose. If you ask them, they will tell you they didn't feel ready. They didn't have it all figured out. They didn't know every single step, but they moved anyway. They trusted anyway. They walked through the door anyway. And that's why they succeeded. That's why they stepped into their purpose. Not because they waited for the perfect moment, but because they trusted the moment God gave them. Some of you are waiting for another sign, another confirmation, another feeling that tells you it's time. But what if the fact that God opened the door is your confirmation? What if the fact that you even have this opportunity is your sign? What if the reason you can't shake this feeling, the reason you keep thinking about it, the reason it won't leave your spirit is because God is telling you now is the time? God will not always make things comfortable for you before he calls you to move. Sometimes he will call you while you're still nervous. Sometimes he will call you while you're still unsure. Sometimes he will open a door and expect you to walk through it even while your hands are shaking. Because he's not looking for your comfort. He's looking for your faith. He's looking for your trust. He's looking for you to believe that if he said it, he will do it. Think about Abraham. God told him to leave his home, leave everything familiar, and go to a land that he would show him. God didn't give him the full plan. He didn't give him all the details. He just said, go, and Abraham went. That's why he was blessed. That's why he became the father of many nations, not because he had all the answers, but because he had the faith to move when God said move. How many times has God told you to move, but you hesitated because you didn't feel ready? How many times have you delayed what was meant for you because you were waiting for a feeling that never came? How many times have you watched someone else walk into a blessing that could have been yours because you were too busy second guessing yourself? The enemy wants you to believe that you're not ready. He wants you to believe that you need more time, more preparation, more confirmation. He wants you to sit in fear while your opportunity passes you by. But you have to silence that voice. You have to recognize that if God opened the door, it's because you're ready. If he put it in front of you, it's because he's already made the way. There is no perfect moment. There is no perfect feeling. There's only faith. There's only trust. There's only believing that if God called you to it, he will see you through it. He's not waiting for you to feel ready. He's waiting for you to trust him enough to move. Doubt and fear are the enemy's way of keeping you stuck. Think about how many times you've hesitated in life. How many times have you let an opportunity slip away because you were too afraid to step up? How many times have you talked yourself out of something because you doubted your ability, your worth, or your potential? The truth is, doubt and fear are not just emotions. They are weapons. They are designed to keep you from becoming everything you were meant to be. They are the silent killers of dreams, the invisible chains that hold you back, the constant whispers in your mind telling you you can't. Fear has one job: to stop you. Doubt has one job: to make you question what you already know to be true. Every time you take a step toward your purpose, fear will rise up and try to push you back. Every time you think about doing something big, something different, something outside your comfort zone, doubt will creep in and start making you wonder if you have what it takes. Fear and doubt are not just thoughts. They are spiritual roadblocks. They are tools used by the enemy to keep you exactly where you are, never growing, never moving forward, never stepping into the calling on your life. Look back on your life. How many things could you have achieved by now if you hadn't let fear and doubt control you? How many doors did you stand in front of but never walk through because you were too afraid of failure? How many dreams did you push aside because you convinced yourself you weren't good enough, smart enough, talented enough, or worthy enough? Fear will always find a way to make you think you're not ready. Doubt will always try to make you believe you don't deserve it. And if you listen to them, they will steal your future right in front of you. The enemy knows that if he can fill your mind with fear and doubt, he doesn't have to do anything else. He doesn't have to attack you physically. He doesn't have to take anything from you. All he has to do is convince you that you're not capable, and you'll do the rest of the work for him. You'll hold yourself back. You'll sabotage your own progress. You'll stop before you even get started. And the worst part is, you won't even realize that you were the one who gave up. You'll think it just wasn't meant to be. But in reality, you were meant for it all along. You just let fear and doubt convince you otherwise. Fear will always create excuses. It will tell you, now's not the right time. You're not ready yet. What if you fail? What will people think? What if you make a mistake? But let's be real. How many times have those excuses actually been true? How many times have you stopped yourself because of fear, only to look back later and realize you could have done it all along? Fear isn't based on reality. It's based on assumptions, on lies, on worst case scenarios that haven't even happened. And yet too many people let those lies control them. Doubt is just as dangerous. It comes at you like a storm. It sneaks in like a whisper. It makes you question yourself in small ways. Am I really good enough? Do I really have what it takes? What if I'm not as talented as I think? It starts small, but if you let it sit in your mind long enough, it grows into something powerful. It paralyzes you. It makes you second guess your decisions. It makes you overthink everything. And eventually it convinces you that maybe it's safer to just stay where you are. The worst thing about doubt and fear is that they don't just stop you from achieving things. They make you settle for less than what you deserve. When you let fear dictate your choices, you start lowering your standards. You start shrinking your dreams. You start convincing yourself that maybe a smaller, safer, more comfortable life is better than taking the risk of going after something bigger. Fear will make you choose comfort over calling. Doubt will make you choose security over success. And before you know it, you've settled for a life that's far less than what you were meant for. God didn't create you to live in fear. He didn't put you on this earth to sit in doubt. He gave you gifts. He gave you talents. He gave you a purpose. And every time you let fear stop you, you are saying that fear is stronger than the calling God placed on your life. Every time you let doubt control you, you are saying that your insecurities are bigger than the faith you have in God's plan. But here's the truth. Fear is a liar. Doubt is a thief, and neither of them have any real power over you unless you give it to them. Think about the times when you pushed past your fear. Think about the moments when you didn't let doubt win. What happened? You accomplished things. You grew. You learned. You became stronger. You proved to yourself that you were capable all along. The only difference between success and regret is the decision to move forward despite fear. Fear will never disappear. It doesn't matter how strong you get, how successful you become, or how much experience you gain. Fear will always be there trying to make you turn back. But the difference between people who succeed and people who stay stuck is that successful people feel fear and do it anyway. They don't wait for the fear to go away. They don't let doubt stop them. They move forward even when their hands are shaking. Some of the greatest moments of your life will be on the other side of fear. Some of the biggest blessings, the most incredible opportunities, the greatest breakthroughs will come only when you push past doubt. The life you want, the success you dream of, the purpose you are meant to fulfill is all waiting for you, but you have to be bold enough to claim it. Fear will tell you that failure is the worst thing that can happen, but that's a lie. The worst thing that can happen is never trying at all. The worst thing that can happen is looking back on your life and realizing you let fear and doubt keep you from everything you were meant to do. The worst thing that can happen is waking up years from now and realizing you wasted your potential because you were too afraid to step into it. There are people in this world who are living the life you dream of, not because they were smarter than you, not because they were more talented than you, not because they had more resources than you, but because they refused to let fear stop them. They refused to let doubt hold them back. They refused to settle for a life that was less than what they were meant for. And if they can do it, so can you. You have to make a choice. You can either let fear and doubt control your life, or you can decide that you are done being held back. You can decide that no matter how afraid you feel, no matter how much doubt tries to creep in, you are going to move forward anyway. You are going to take the opportunities that come your way. You are going to believe in yourself even when it's hard. You are going to trust that if God puts something in your heart, He will give you everything you need to accomplish it. Doubt and fear are the enemy's way of keeping you stuck. The only question is, are you going to let them win? Pain and struggle are preparation for the door God is opening. A lot of people want the blessing, but they don't want the process. They want the reward, but they don't want to go through the struggle it takes to get there. They pray for God to open doors, but when the preparation gets tough, they start questioning if they're really meant for it. The truth is, you don't just walk into greatness. You don't just stumble into purpose. Before God opens a powerful door for you, He prepares you. And that preparation doesn't always feel good. Sometimes it comes in the form of struggle. Sometimes it comes in the form of pain. Look at any successful person, any great leader, any person who has stepped into their calling, and you will see a story of struggle. You will see moments when they wanted to quit. You will see battles that almost broke them. You will see seasons of their life where they had to fight just to keep going, because struggle is a part of the process. Pain is part of the preparation. God is not just going to hand you a blessing that you're not ready for. He's not going to open a door that you don't have the strength to walk through. So He allows you to go through some things. He allows you to be tested. He allows you to experience hardship, not to break you, but to build you. Too many people want the promotion without the work. They want the platform without the discipline. They want the breakthrough without the battle. But the struggle is what makes you strong enough to handle the blessing when it comes. The pain you go through today is what equips you for the opportunity that's coming tomorrow. If you quit in the struggle, you forfeit the reward. If you walk away when it gets hard, you miss the door God is trying to open for you. Think about Joseph. He had a vision. He knew God had something big planned for his life. But before he ever reached the palace, he had to go through betrayal. He had to be thrown into a pit. He had to be sold into slavery. He had to be falsely accused and thrown into prison. None of that felt like preparation. None of that looked like the path to greatness. But every single trial Joseph went through was setting him up for his destiny. If he had quit in the middle of the process, if he had given up when things got hard, he never would have seen the fulfillment of what God had promised him. Some of you are in a season right now where nothing makes sense. You're going through things that feel unfair. You're dealing with struggles that feel overwhelming, and you're wondering why God is allowing it to happen. But what if this is your preparation? What if this pain is building something inside you? What if this struggle is strengthening you for what's coming next? The weight you are carrying today is increasing your capacity. It's stretching you. It's growing you. Because when the blessing comes, when the door opens, when the opportunity presents itself, you have to be ready for it. God is not going to give you something that you don't have the character to sustain. He's not going to promote you to a level you're not mature enough to handle. So before he blesses you, he prepares you. And preparation is not always easy. Think about David. He was anointed to be king, but he didn't step into the throne the next day. He had to go through years of struggle. He had to fight battles. He had to be on the run. He had to face opposition. God could have put him in the palace immediately, but instead he allowed him to go through trials first. Why? Because God was building something in David. He was shaping him into the leader he needed to be. He was preparing him for the responsibility that was coming. Some of you are asking God to open doors, but you're not willing to go through the process that makes you strong enough to walk through them. You're asking God for more, but you're not willing to endure the refining that comes with greater responsibility. You're wondering why things are hard, why things are taking so long, why you feel like you're stuck. But maybe you're not stuck. Maybe you're in training. Maybe God is allowing you to go through this because he knows what's coming. He knows the weight of the blessing he's about to give you, and he's making sure you can carry it. Struggle is not proof that God has forgotten you. It's proof that he's preparing you. Pain is not a sign that you're on the wrong path. It's a sign that God is strengthening you for what's ahead. Every delay, every disappointment, every closed door, every difficult moment, it's all part of the process. It's all shaping you. It's all making you better, stronger, wiser, more equipped. Look at the greatest athletes in the world. They don't just show up and win championships. They train. They push themselves. They go through pain. They wake up early. They stay disciplined. They endure hard moments that make them question if they even want it. But they don't quit because they know that the struggle is what prepares them for the victory. God is stretching you right now. He's refining you. He's taking you through things that don't feel good, but are necessary. And if you trust him through this process, if you don't give up, if you don't walk away, you will see the reward. You will step into what he has for you. But you have to endure the preparation. You have to embrace the struggle. You have to understand that everything you're going through is working for your good. The enemy wants you to believe that the struggle means you should quit. He wants you to believe that pain means God isn't with you. But the truth is, the struggle is proof that you're on the right path. The enemy wouldn't be attacking you if you weren't a threat. He wouldn't be trying to break you if God didn't have something powerful in store for you. The pressure you're feeling, the opposition you're facing, it's because you are getting closer. Some of the greatest people in the world didn't get there because everything was easy. They got there because they refused to give up when things were hard. They refused to let pain stop them. They refused to let struggle define them. They kept going even when it hurt. And because of that, they walked through the doors that God had opened for them. God is not punishing you. He's preparing you. He's building your endurance. He's developing your patience. He's increasing your faith, because where he's taking you, you're going to need it. The doors he's about to open for you require a new level of strength, a new level of wisdom, a new level of character. So don't resist the process. Don't despise the struggle. Don't let the pain make you bitter. Let it make you better. Too many people give up right before their breakthrough. Let the difficulty convince them that maybe it's not meant to be. They let the struggle make them turn back. But what if you're closer than you think? What if the door is right in front of you, but you just have to keep pushing a little longer? You don't get to skip the process. You don't get to avoid the preparation. But if you endure, if you stay faithful, if you keep pressing forward, the door will open, the opportunity will come, the blessing will arrive. And when it does, you'll be ready for it, because everything you went through, every tear you cried, every battle you fought, every obstacle you overcame, it was all leading up to this moment. It was all preparing you for what's next. Opportunities require bold action. Hesitation will make you miss the door. One of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting too long to act. They wait for the perfect moment. They wait until they feel completely ready. They wait for fear to disappear before they move forward. But the truth is, opportunities don't wait for you. They don't sit around until you feel comfortable enough to take them. When God opens a door, you have to move. You have to step forward with confidence, even if you're scared, even if you're unsure, even if you don't have all the details figured out yet. Hesitation can cost you everything. Think about all the times in your life when you've hesitated, when you had a chance to step up, but you didn't. When you had an opportunity right in front of you, but you let fear, doubt, or overthinking talk you out of it. How many blessings have you missed because you were waiting for the right time? How many breakthroughs were on the other side of a step you were too afraid to take? The truth is, most people don't miss opportunities because they lack talent or ability. They miss them because they hesitate. They let their mind talk them out of what their heart knows they're supposed to do. They overthink instead of acting. They wait for a feeling of certainty that never comes. But faith doesn't work that way. Stepping into purpose doesn't work that way. If you're waiting to feel 100% ready, you're going to be waiting forever. God doesn't call the ready. He calls the willing. He calls the people who are bold enough to step forward even when they don't have all the answers. He calls the people who are willing to trust him even when they can't see the whole picture. The problem is too many people hesitate because they want a guarantee. They want to know how it's all going to work out before they take the first step. But that's not how faith works. You don't get the details first. You don't get the blueprint up front. God gives you the door, and it's up to you to have the courage to walk through it. Look at the people in the Bible who stepped into greatness. They didn't wait for perfect conditions. They didn't hesitate until they had everything figured out. They moved when God said move. When Peter saw Jesus walking on water, he didn't sit in the boat and analyze every possible outcome. He didn't wait until the waves calmed down. He stepped out. He acted in faith. He moved, even though everything in his logical mind probably told him it didn't make sense. When David ran toward Goliath, he didn't pause to second guess himself. He didn't hesitate. He didn't stop to analyze if he had enough skill or experience. He just acted. He knew that God was with him, and that was enough. He understood that hesitation could cost him the battle, so he stepped up with boldness. That's the kind of mindset you need if you're going to walk through the doors God is opening for you. But too often people hesitate because they let fear control their decision making. They start thinking about all the things that could go wrong. They start making excuses. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if people judge me? What if this isn't the right time? But fear is a liar. Fear will always try to make you believe you're not ready. Fear will always try to make you think you need more time. But if God has opened a door, that means you are ready. That means he has already equipped you with everything you need to step into it. Hesitation will rob you of opportunities that were meant for you. There are people who were called to do great things but never stepped into them because they hesitated. There are businesses that never got started, books that were never written, ideas that never came to life. All because someone hesitated too long. Opportunities don't last forever. Doors don't stay open forever. When God presents you with an opportunity, it's not going to wait around while you try to build up the courage to take it. Some people think they're being wise by waiting, but there's a difference between wisdom and hesitation. Wisdom is seeking guidance, praying about your decision, and making sure you're in alignment with God's will. Hesitation is delaying out of fear, overthinking until you talk yourself out of it, and letting uncertainty keep you from moving forward. Some of the biggest regrets people have in life aren't from things they did, they're the things they didn't do, the times they waited too long, the times they let hesitation keep them from stepping into what they were meant to do. If you feel like God is calling you to something, don't wait until you have every detail figured out. Move, take action, start with what you have, because once the door closes, it might not open again. The opportunity you have today might not be there tomorrow. There are moments that are time sensitive. There are blessings that require immediate action. And if you hesitate, you could miss them. The enemy wants you to hesitate. He wants you to question yourself. He wants you to overthink until the opportunity is gone. Because he knows that if you step into what God has for you, you will become He knows that if you walk through that door, you will change lives. So he tries to keep you stuck. He tries to keep you in your head, analyzing, debating, second guessing. He knows that hesitation is just as effective as quitting, because as long as you don't move, you're not a threat. Think about where you would be right now if you had taken action sooner. Think about how much further along you would be if you hadn't let hesitation hold you back. But here's the good news. It's not too late. God is still opening doors. He is still presenting opportunities. But you have to make up your mind that this time you're not going to hesitate. This time you're not going to let fear win. This time you're going to move forward boldly. You may not have all the answers. You may not feel completely ready, but that doesn't mean you're not supposed to step forward. Some of the greatest success stories started with people who had no idea what they were doing. They just took action. They didn't wait for everything to be perfect. They didn't let hesitation stop them. They moved forward. And because they moved, doors kept opening. There are some doors that will only open when you take the first step. Some opportunities that won't reveal themselves until you move. Some blessings that are waiting on you to act. But if you hesitate, you might never see them. You might spend years wondering what could have been if only you had stepped forward when you had the chance. God is calling you to something bigger. He's placed something on your heart for a reason. And if he's opening a door, it means he's already made a way for you to walk through it. But you have to be bold enough to step in. You have to be strong enough to take action. You have to be willing to move forward even when you don't have all the answers. Because the greatest blessings, the biggest breakthroughs, and the most life-changing opportunities don't come to those who wait. They come to those who act. Obedience to God's direction is the key to stepping into the open door. Many people pray for God to open doors, but when he gives them clear instructions, they hesitate, ignore, or even disobey. They want the opportunity, but they don't want to follow the process that leads to it. The truth is, when God opens a door for you, there is always a requirement: obedience. You can't expect to walk into blessings while ignoring the voice of the one who provided them. You can't receive what's next if you're unwilling to follow the path God is laying before you. Obedience isn't just about following commands. It's about trust. It's about believing that God's way is better than your way. It's about knowing that even when his instructions don't make sense, even when they challenge you, even when they stretch you beyond your comfort zone, he sees the full picture. He knows where he's leading you. He knows the doors he's opening, but you will never reach them if you don't listen and obey. Look at the story of Noah. God told him to build an ark when there was no sign of rain. It did make sense. People mocked him. It took years to complete, but Noah obeyed. And because of his obedience, he and his family were saved. Imagine if he had hesitated. Imagine if he had ignored God's instructions. Imagine if he had said, I'll wait until I see a cloud before I start. He would have missed the door God was opening for him. The same is true for you. God is giving you instructions. He is speaking to you, nudging you, leading you in a specific direction. But are you listening? Are you following through? Or are you resisting because you don't understand the full plan? Some of the greatest opportunities are lost, not because the door wasn't there, but because the person refused to walk through it due to disobedience. Partial obedience is still disobedience. Some people like to pick and choose which parts of God's instructions they'll follow. They'll step forward, but only halfway. They'll say yes to the opportunity, but they'll do it their own way instead of God's way. But obedience means doing exactly what God said, exactly how he said. It means trusting him completely, not just when it's convenient. Think about Abraham. God told him to leave his home and go to a place he had never seen before. There was no map, no details, no explanation, just a command, go. And Abraham obeyed. He didn't wait for more information. He didn't ask for a guarantee. He moved simply because God said to. And because of his obedience, he stepped into the greatest blessings of his life. How many doors have you missed because you waited for more details instead of moving in faith? How many blessings have been delayed because you chose comfort over obedience? Sometimes God's instructions won't make sense in the moment. Sometimes he will ask you to take a step before you see the full staircase. But obedience is what unlocks the blessing. Obedience is what moves you into the open door. God will test your obedience before he trusts you with more. He will see if you can be faithful with small instructions before he gives you something bigger. Some people want the big opportunity, the promotion, the breakthrough, but they haven't even followed through on the last thing God told them to do. They're asking for more, but they haven't been faithful with what they already have. Think about the story of the Israelites in the wilderness. God had a promised land for them, a place of abundance, a land flowing with milk and honey. But an entire generation missed it, not because God didn't open the door, but because they disobeyed. They doubted, they complained, they refused to trust him. They let fear and rebellion keep them from stepping into what was already theirs. Some of you are standing at the edge of your promised land, but hesitation and disobedience are keeping you out. You're asking God for direction, but when he speaks, you delay, you negotiate. You try to do it your own way, but delayed obedience is still disobedience. When God says move, you move. When he says go, you go. Even if you don't understand, even if it stretches you, even if it makes you uncomfortable, obedience requires sacrifice. Sometimes God will ask you to give up something you're holding on to. Sometimes he will require you to leave a situation that feels safe. Sometimes he will tell you to walk away from people, places, or habits that are holding you back. And the question is, are you willing? Are you willing to let go of what's familiar to step into what's greater? Are you willing to surrender what's comfortable so you can receive what's next? Look at Peter. He was a fisherman. That was his livelihood, his identity, his comfort zone. But when Jesus called him to leave everything and follow him, Peter obeyed. He didn't ask for a backup plan. He didn't wait to see if it was a good career move. He dropped his nets and followed Jesus. And because of that, he walked into his true purpose. Some of you are still holding on to your nets. God is calling you higher. He's calling you into something greater. He's opening doors that will change your life, but you can't step into them if you're still clinging to what's behind you. Obedience requires movement. It requires faith. It requires action. The enemy knows that obedience is the key to your breakthrough. That's why he works overtime to distract you. He tries to fill your mind with doubt. He tries to make you believe that you're not ready. He tempts you to delay, to put it off, to question what God said, because he knows that as long as you're hesitating, as long as you're not fully obeying, you're not walking into your destiny. Think about Jonah. God gave him a clear instruction, go to Nineveh. But Jonah didn't want to go. He ran in the opposite direction. He thought he could escape obedience. But disobedience always has consequences. It always leads to storms, to detours, to unnecessary struggles. And eventually, Jonah had to do what God told him to do in the first place. Don't wait until you're in a storm to obey. Don't wait until you've wasted years running from your purpose to finally surrender. The faster you obey, the faster you walk into the open door. The quicker you align with God's will, the quicker you see the blessing manifest in your life. Obedience isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. It's the key to everything you've been praying for. It's the bridge between where you are and where God is taking you. Every great move of God in the Bible started with obedience. Every person who walked into destiny did so because they followed God's instructions, even when it didn't make sense. God is calling you to something greater. He's opening doors, he's making a way, but the question is, will you obey? Will you follow his voice even when it challenges you? Will you step out in faith even when you don't see the whole picture? Will you trust that his way is better, that his plan is greater, that his timing is perfect? You don't have to understand everything to obey. You don't have to have all the details to move forward. You just have to trust. You just have to take the step. Because on the other side of obedience is everything you've been waiting for. The opportunity, the breakthrough, the favor, the open door. But you'll never walk into it if you refuse to obey.